morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this week's Weekly Energy Boost. My name is Elisheva, and I'm here this morning with Eitan, and we are sharing the secrets behind unlocking hidden strengths. And that's because this week is really asking us in our journey, our process of self-exploration, to look at the missed opportunities and the way that the universe is constantly putting in front of us opportunities to leave our comfort zone and find those hidden strengths, those gifts, those talents, or sometimes even the explosion of a known talent to a level that we haven't previously experienced before. Weekly Energy Boost is a 7-day spiritual weather forecast where we provide our listeners with the most powerful and practical tools to navigate the coming 7 days through the wisdom and tools of Kabbalah. Then every episode ends up revealing wisdom and tools you can use any week of the year, any year of your life. And this is no different. We hear constantly from people from all walks of life and all levels of spiritual study that there's something missing, that maybe they don't feel in touch with their purpose, or that they're making a difference. Or even in classes, we ask the question, what are the gifts that you have naturally, or that you receive from the Creator, or that you were born with? And sometimes when we ask that question, people don't know how to answer it. And so I think as we look at delving deeper into this idea of hidden strengths, Eitan, I think the most important starting point is, what's the purpose of keeping things hidden? Why is it that we have to go through a process to reveal our greatness and the hidden powers we may have? Why is the fact that it's hidden so essential?
That's a great question. I think it has to do with what life really is all about. It's the game of life. You know, the ancient Kabbalists differentiate between a human soul and an angel, positive angels. So we know there are positive angels that have specific talent, strength, they know about it, they express it, they don't have anything within them that stops them to express it. Angel for healing, angel for guidance, angel for abundance, angel for protection. So they know that's their job, they're a messenger from above. Nevertheless, while we all have within our soul unique gifts, unique talents, unique ability to shine, to add value in our own unique way, but our soul chose the journey of exploration. Our soul chose the journey of, we actually told the Creator as part of the spiritual contract. So our soul said, please allow us to go through the journey of overcoming. Make all our blessings and all our talents concealed, that we can go through the process of discovering it. Because if I'll discover and overcome whatever stopped me to express my talent, or to know my talents and my gifts, then I can feel true sense of fulfillment. And that fulfillment, it says, potentially is greater than the fulfillment of the angel, because we overcame and we earned.
I think a lot of people have a profession or something that they're good at, and it doesn't necessarily bring them joy or fulfill them, or when they're engaged in it, that they don't feel connected to their purpose. And I feel like especially for those of us who are listening and have been on a spiritual journey, it's frustrating to belong or to be dedicated to a particular field and yet feel that that's not where I'm meant to reveal my light. How can we inspire our listeners to begin that journey of uncovering what they have yet to discover?
I think it's a beautiful question. I think everything starts with desire. I think everything I can tell you personally for myself for many years, at least for the last 40 years, part of my meditation routine is to open myself to the universe, to the higher power, to the light, and ask, please show me what I meant and I'm supposed to do today. I don't know. I know certain opportunities, I know certain talent. Of course, I have specific gift and specific thing that I'm doing, even within the frame of teaching Kabbalah. I don't want just to teach. I don't want just to meet students. I don't want just to come out with inspiring information. I want to do what I'm supposed to do. So I think everything starts with desire. Because at the end of the day, true happiness and true fulfillment comes when I'm fulfilling the specific purpose I came to express and manifest in this world. So everything starts with desire, I think. That's step number one.
And is there anything we can do proactively to reveal those hidden gifts and talents?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example myself, okay? So I started my journey of Kabbalah many, many years ago. And I'm really full-time part of the Kabbalah Center, part of the mission, a part of being a teacher since 1985 when I finished the Israeli army, 10 years ago. And I love what I do, and I'm inspired to affect positive change in people's life. And it's most of the time flowing to me. It's a flow, even though I'm constantly trying to improve. But if you ask me, was I natural in public speaking or speaking in front of a crowd? So let me tell you something. I remember as a teenager from the age of 14 to 16, as I was part of the scouts in Israel. And out of 40 of us, 38 were trained to be teachers, and 2 decided they don't want to take this path to be a teacher, to teach lower grades in the scouts and so on. I was one of the 2, me and my friend. I was asked to do it. I was afraid. I rejected the offer. I didn't want to go there. And then, later on, I joined the Israeli army. I was in the Air Force. The first year I was in the field. And then I was called to be a teacher in the Air Force with specific field. So I was reluctant to go or not. I decided I will go, I will try. I was afraid. The idea of public speaking, the idea of expressing in front of other people was totally not my nature. So it was a week-long training of public speaking. And at the end, the commander that was in charge of this particular training would decide who passed and who can move on in the specific field to start to teach, and who failed. And I was called at the end, and I've been told, listen, we almost failed you, but for some reason we believe in you, so you passed. And then it took me about 3 months actually to love teaching and guiding even the Israeli army. And that's what led me afterwards to the passions to actually teach Kabbalah even. It's not that I said, I was drawn, the Rav asked me to replace a teacher, the Rav Berg, and so on. So think about it. I think this is part of my path. This is part of my purpose. But for me specifically, it represented uncomfortable situation. I was called to do it. And because it was uncomfortable, whatever fears of rejections, fears of being vulnerable, fear of being vocal, I rather be quiet and concealed. So sometimes, look at the thing that it's uncomfortable for you to do. It can be little things. It doesn't have to be big things. And imagine that behind those things that we're afraid to do or uncomfortable to do or don't want even to start, hiding a gift that can touch and affect positive change thousands and many more people. So for me, that's one example. I have many examples, the opposite, but that's one example of something that I start. Another example, identify something that you're good at and just work to do it more for the sake of sharing. Ask yourself, what are you good at? For example, for you, knowing you, Elisheva, just as I look at you from the time I know you as, I don't know, 17 years old, I know you when you were 17 years old, you're pretty comfortable and natural about communication and spontaneous about it and very smart about it. What would you say about connecting to a talent or either going for it step by step? Were you part of drama classes in a young age?
So for sure, and I think I may have shared it before a few years ago, but for me, I was very good, or I connected more with that idea of the stage and theater and performing. I was great at taking a script and becoming a character. But when it came to communicating for me personally, when I was younger, I couldn't even order food at a restaurant. I would tell whoever I was eating with, get me the Caesar salad, please. Like I had such an issue I was so uncomfortable with expressing myself in unfamiliar situations or with strangers. And to your point, I knew that I could speak, that I had a pleasant voice, that I could deliver a message. But what was hard for me, my challenge was more, maybe it's generating independent and sincere things to communicate. And I started in my work in the center. Initially, I said I wanted to volunteer in the afternoons and evenings, and the volunteer coordinator said, well, tell me what you're good at and I'll find you the right role. And I told her, I don't want to see people. I'm really good at typing and alphabetizing computers. Give me something, as far away from other people as possible. She had me answer the phones first thing in the evenings. I was talking to people on the phone. Then I was welcoming students as they came to classes. And little by little, then I also started to teach young children. And I moved into gradually roles where there was a greater audience and a larger audience and so on and so forth. My work, and where it was uncomfortable for me, was taking the emphasis off of me, meaning how I sound, how I look, what are people going to think, really leaving that behind and realizing and connecting with the idea that I'm an instrument. I'm a messenger. I'm a piece of the machinery in the universe that I can be used for the sake of inspiring and empowering and uplifting people. And if I'll think about myself and be focused on, I'm nervous, I'm scared, I'm shy, I'm not important, and all the thoughts that came to me in those years, I'd still be in the back. I'd be in the IT department instead of being in a position where I get to share with people every day the way that I do now. So for me, even though I would say that the talent or the ability was always there, it was so wrapped up in insecurity, worry, fears, not feeling comfortable or safe to be that channel or that instrument, and using the spiritual tools and the support that, from everyone in my environment to gradually strengthen that muscle to then be at the point where I am now. And by the way, it's still a process. I can see clearly, and obviously there's levels I don't see yet, of future levels and versions of what it means to be an instrument, to be a piece of that delivery system for the universe to help and support people on their spiritual journey. And it's every day there's a little growth and a little growth and another little piece, and step by step getting there.
Beautiful. So what actually, just to conclude for our audience and based on our own experience, every talent or gift or potential purpose that we came to express in this world is wrapped up in certain challenge. For me, for example, it was fear. For you, you had the talent of communication, but attached to the ego of what people think and so on, and not really. And I can tell you, even for myself with communication, I had to go through major life experiences and challenges that took my level of the communication to the next level, for example, of being more vulnerable about my own process and not just intellectually teaching a concept. So as you say, we always take it to the next level and next level and next level. There's always next level of expressing. So let me give you another example. I used to work with a very talented CEO, and his gift was, he was an amazing salesman everything. An investor would come and he would sell them the vision of the company, and the investor will be so excited and right away will commit for huge sum of money to support the company. So and eventually was major issues with the company. And that person realized, while he has a gift of communicating a message, and while he has a gift of selling, while he has a gift of inspiring other people, he realized he is actually using this gift to manipulate people to say yes. And he realized this is a short term. So the next company that is started, which is actually seemed to have long-term success energy to it, he realized he will restrict and pause, because when you see people excited so fast, he tells them, you know what, make sure that you really speak to your team, come back to me in a week, because he wanted to make sure that the partner that says yes is a partner that belongs, is not just got excited and because of his salesman abilities. So we all need, in one way or another, to overcome something, to overcome fear, to overcome ego, to let go, to open up, in order to take the talents and the gifts that the light gave us to be expressed in a right, real way in this world.
For sure. And I think the timing of this conversation obviously is divinely orchestrated in this month where we're focused on the self-reflection process, looking at the past year, at opportunities that we may have passed up to stretch ourselves, to get uncomfortable, to go to the next level as far as expressing our strengths and our gifts and our talents. Those missed opportunities are part of that self-reflection process, not beating ourselves up or feeling terrible, but in a way recognizing that it's within my ability to drive the process of revealing my gifts and to make that connection, to recognize that when I feel someone says, you know, you can do it, and I feel the butterflies in my stomach or the lump in my throat, or I start to feel that pressure, that external squeeze from the universe to level up, to rise to that occasion instead of to recede into the cave. And a couple of weeks ago, when we spoke about the self-reflection process, we said that every week we would share one area of potential negativity that we may have fallen into in the past year as part of that self-reflection process. We talked about the concept that the Kabbalists call idol worship. Maybe we can wrap up today's episode talking about another version, another iteration of negativity that we can be looking for in this self-reflection process?
So I think I would, because as you said, Elisheva, part of reflection and cleansing is identify the thing that I'm doing wrong and negative, and part is about where I'm not expressing my gifts. So I would like to do a simple exercise for our audience. If you are driving, don't close your eyes, okay? But if you're not, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and without thinking much, ask yourself the question, what is one of the talents and the gifts that the Creator gave you that comes to you easily and there's a flow attached to it already that you know right now? One gift. It can be with communication, it can be with children, it can be with animals, it can be with solving problems, it can be listening to other people, it can be with writing, it can anything. Whatever comes to you, just a talent that was given to you by the Creator. Just think about one. We all have already. And now you can open your eyes. And the next question, which I would like you to journal for yourself, especially in this time, how can you express this talent? How can you envision yourself express this talent in a capacity of sharing without agenda more this coming year? Because at the end of the day, part of the process of purifying and allowing the gift to be expressed is showing up, doing it again and again and again, and every time reflecting. It's not just about waiting until I'll change the world. No, take the one thing that you already know it's a gift and decide it and commit yourself, what can I do this year or even starting this month to express it in a greater way with intention to share without agenda of approval, of recognition, of getting something in return. The return that you want is connecting to the source. So one thing. And if you actually can do that, you're already expanding the capacity of expressing your purpose. Sometimes it's not about what is the biggest thing I'm supposed to do. What is the blessings that was given to me already? I know it's a gift from the Creator. I want to start to express it. And more, and more, and more. I'm afraid, I'm not afraid, it's comfortable, it's uncomfortable. Just go for that.
You reminded me while you were talking, actually, about a teaching that Michael Berg shares maybe every 3 months, every 6 months in one form or another. He asks the question, if you want to know what your purpose is, what you're here to do, think of the things that make you uncomfortable. Think of the things that you don't want to do. And I often think, well, that sounds, if you're not hearing it through spiritual ears, that can sound terrible. But the truth of the answer to that question is that behind the discomfort, behind the apprehension or the resistance to do or to be that thing that makes you uncomfortable is these gifts that we're talking about. That process of being willing to stretch, to be uncomfortable, to go outside of our norm or our usual programming is really where the light and the fulfillment is. And we love watching movies, right, where people go out there and they do something really hard, and there's a triumphant end that, they save the, superhero movies. The superhero doesn't want to take responsibility, doesn't want to be in the spotlight, but then they do, and they save everybody, and it's a very happy ending. We each have our own process like that, where we triumph, where we overcome, we break through. And not that there's, a million people clapping for us at the end, but that's really where our purpose lies, in that stretch and in that overcoming. And even though the discomfort is sometimes, or the fear of the potential discomfort stands in our way, when we do take that risk and jump into the discomfort or the unknown, it's almost always not as bad as we thought. And that's, I'm saying it from experience, from also holding hands with people who are daring to grow into the next version of themselves. But also the reality is that when we stretch ourselves, what we're not only stretching our talent or our ability or even the capacity to be uncomfortable. As we stretch ourselves, we're also stretching our capacity to experience fulfillment. And I feel it's important to remind people that we're not saying you should suffer and then you're going to discover a talent. That the suffering is really in the perception of what's difficult. The actual suffering lasts a second or a minute or isn't even there once we find ourselves willing to jump into the water. So hopefully we'll use that, the identifying the fear of the unknown or the fear of uncomfortable as a sign, as a message from the universe. This is where your hidden strengths are. This is where your gifts and your talents are. Take the risk and go there and see what you find, because the person that's going to benefit the most from that sharing or that ability that gift that you uncover is you. And I think that that's an important reminder for all of us, that the risk, the fear of the potential risk is always greater than the actual pain or discomfort that lies in that area. Beautiful. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
Just to support what you said, and that's something we always need to remember. There's different ways to look at discomfort. We can create movies about discomfort. We can anticipate discomfort. We can imagine how it will feel like. Or we can shift to saying, actually, I would like to feel this temporary discomfort. Actually, by saying, I would like to feel this temporary discomfort, suddenly you get sense of courage. And the reason you're saying it, because you want so much more. By saying, I don't want it, but I have to do it, that's weaken your energy. By saying, yeah, part of me don't want it, but actually I'm deciding now, I would like to feel whatever that discomfort is. Even if the fact that you're saying it and you're moving towards it, you get energy of courage.
Yeah, I think that if anyone listening says, well, I can't do that, or I'm so overwhelmed with life and responsibility, I can't even begin to explore whatever they're talking about this week, my suggestion would be try to do whatever it is that's on your plate, all of your responsibilities, all of your commitments. Try to do them with more love, with a more open heart, with more warmth, and with more presence. And just from that, you'll reveal hidden gifts, hidden talents, discover things about yourself and others that you didn't previously know about. Weekly Energy Boost is available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can follow us on those platforms to receive more content, wisdom, support, guidance to apply whatever we talk about in each week's episode. You can also visit our website, weeklyenergyboost.com, where you can send us a message, click the donate button to support us, and most importantly, share this episode, help the world's population uncover more of their own light that in turn will brighten the world. And we'll see you next week on the Weekly Energy Boost.